Did you know that most people learn productivity completely backwards? I spent years obsessing over complicated apps and hacks, and my focus only got worse until I discovered 7 shockingly simple habits that effortlessly unlock 6 to 13 hour focus days. So in this video, I'm going to show you what these simple habits are, which I've refined over about 8 years to unfuck your focus and achieve reliable clarity every single day. To start, let me show you how to instantly kill 90% of your distractions by thinking inside the box. So I'm sure you heard of thinking like outside the box, right? And usually people say this to generate the most successful solution or come up with the most valuable ideas. But this shit is wrong, at least for focus. So think about this. If you go on some landing page or you landed on some like software website and you see some shit like this, like 20 fucking different pricing tiers. You got like the basic, you got the like the pro starter, you got the elite, bronze, enterprise, your diamond tier. Your brain's gonna fucking glitch out, right? You waste time trying to look through the tiny little details of every single thing, and you're like, oh fuck, there's too much work. I don't really know what I want to get, and you just bounce off the landing page, right? But then what if there's this other website which literally just fucking basic tier, premium tier, that's it. You're like, oh fuck, you know exactly what you'll need. You either go with the free one or like, oh, these some features here that are very useful. I get the premium. And you're able to decide this in seconds because there's fewer options and it doesn't split your focus. So this is why thinking outside the box is shit advice for focus. You need to think inside the box, make it simple in your brain, just like the free in premium tier. So how do you put your focus inside a box, removing the noise from the infinite possibilities so you can automatically focus only on what matters to you? There's 3 different steps, and the first step is just to pick a mode. And I'm sure you've heard of stuff like, I don't know, monk mode or something like that before, but I think the best way to pick a mode for you is to do it based on the problem that you have for your focus. So if your problem, for example, is a hard time focusing for a few minutes, then I want you to do something called deep work mode. And this is just to understand your chronotype and say like, okay, you're a night person or you're a morning person or you're more of like a midday person. Then you want to dedicate that time to doing tasks. So this is the time that you have the most energy in your brain. So sort of like the most willpower, the most ability to focus. So it's your best chance to at least get in a few minutes of focus. And you just want to pick one task and do it during that time and try your hardest. Even if it's something like ultra small, like literally just like, I don't know, open your browser or something. And over time you can build up from doing that. And if your problem is only like, oh, you can't focus for a couple of hours, then do something I call NPC mode. This is creating a default habit. Sort of like if you think of like NPC in a game, like they literally say the exact same shit all the time where they keep doing the same fucking actions back and forth. Pick something like this, like for example for me, anytime my focus drifts while I'm doing work, like a couple of minutes went by, my mind's getting kind of fucked up, possibly getting distracted. I just go in, I brew a cup of tea, I come back, that's sort of like 5, 10, 15 minutes, I turn off my brain, and I'm now able to go back into focus because I've sort of rested. And then you also have like no burnout and shit. And if you have a hard time focusing for more than a few days or weeks, basically long-term focus, there's a lot of different options here. First one, of course, is just straight up no FAP. So your dopamine doesn't get fucked and you can go on for even longer. There's ghost mode, which is basically no social interactions, so you're not distracted by any other people. There's of course monk mode, which is sort of a combination of these two. And then there's nightmare mode, which I don't know if you heard of this, but Alex Becker talked about it before, if you know who he is. It's literally like nothing, like a combination of monk mode, so like absolutely no pleasure, plus not even eating. I just sort of started nightmare mode today. I'm going to do a 48-hour fast. So like literally nothing but work, which is not good for you in the long term, but you can try it if you want. So once you went through your problem, you have your mode, you go into step 2, which is to just define the box. What is the single task or category of tasks that you allow within your mode, within your box? What distractions are explicitly outside the box, like, I don't know, social media, video games, or other projects? Then you go into the third part, which is use science. Habit science actually says 21 to 90 days to build a habit. You want to do the exact same thing. To most effectively build this focus within your brain, let the mode work as best as possible. You want to pick your mode for at least that long. Okay, now, with your box, it should be significantly easier to focus. But the thing is, focus isn't just about blocking distractions, right? It's about strengthening the focus muscle itself, being able to focus deeper and deeper, or longer and longer. So let me show you exactly how you can level up your focus capacity like a video game character or like an anime character, just by using what you already do in your daily life. I want you to think of your focus or your willpower like mana in a game. Every time you use your focus or willpower, resisting a distraction or trying to push through something tough, it drains this focus. But here's the key thing. I don't know if you've seen like the isekai anime, like this anime right here, I know explicitly uses this exact system where once you use up your mana, like you totally use it up. The next day or whenever it regenerates again, the total capacity of mana increases. So, you keep using it up and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's the exact same thing with your ability to focus. So the problem is most people avoid spending their mana, and this is because it feels hard or uncomfortable. They avoid the very action that would level up their focus. Literally, there's a part of your brain called the AMCC that grows and shrinks whenever you do hard things. So it's literally like your mana gauge. And I talked about in a video, it's this section of your brain right here. So how do you train this focus muscle without adding extra shit to your day? So basically 0 time. Here's what I do. So the first step is just to set up. So every single day, without fail, what do you do? Think about what you do. Like, do you brush your teeth? Do you make coffee? Do you commute? Do you work out? Do you wash your face? Do you shower? Do you take a shit? Do you take a piss? Do you drink? You eat? You probably do all those things, right? In fantasy setting, maybe like cooking with a fire. And then you go with step 2 and you choose your slightly uncomfortable task. This is sort of like choosing your spell that you want to use to spend your mana. So is it like you avoid working out, or do you avoid cold showers? Do you avoid drinking things like black coffee, eating things that are good for you? Do you like avoid silence or something? Like you always have to have music in your ears. So and then once you got your spells or all your most uncomfortable tasks that you always avoid, but you should do, then you go into step 3, which is you stack them together with the things that you do every single day. So let's say if it was cooking or something, then like, oh, you use your fire spell to heat up chicken. Or like once the chicken's done, you use your wind spell to fucking cool it down. So in more real life, it could be like if you brush your teeth, you can do squats while you do it. Like that's literally what I do. Or I wash my face all the time. I use fucking cold water instead of like cold showers. So stacking them together, like something you already do, that's why it's 0 time. And then, of course, you execute this on the daily basis, spending your mana, so then your focus constantly levels up. You can focus more and more because that part of your brain starts to actually grow in size. Of course, depending on what you choose, the specific uncomfortable things that you choose, that has its own benefits. Like if you're doing squats while you brush your teeth, your legs are going to get stronger, right? Or the cold exposure will fix your dopamine. All right, so now your focus is growing. But how do you subtly guide your brain to focus even when you're not actively trying to focus? So let me show you how to use your own brain's curiosity against itself, like sort of like teasing yourself towards productivity. Let's say you're walking around outside and you catch an image of someone hot as fuck, like these 2 people here. Even if it's just for a second, their image is going to stick into your mind, right? Your brain gets curious. You sort of want to see more. You think about it later. Maybe like you glance at them again or whatever. Your subconscious is kind of like oh fuck, hooked on this. You can use this exact same peaking mechanism to prime your brain for focus to your goals. So you give it like a little tiny taste, a little tiny look to spark the curiosity that will pull you back into work. So how do you peak effectively? There's just 2 simple techniques, what I call night peak and day peak. So at the end of your day at night, you just want to peak at the work that you have to do for the next day. Like if you have a to-do list that you have, just peek at it, and overnight you'll have this image in your brain, which will align your brain to basically subconsciously get ready for the task for the next day. And then to stay focused throughout the next day, you want to do something called day peaking. So you start your day, you want to just peek at the work again. And you just want to start it. So you want to just like open up the browser or something like that, or just write 1 sentence, just peek at the work, and then go like brush your teeth, do whatever. And this curiosity will bring you back. It will subtly prime your brain throughout the day to make it easier because you're low-key already interested. And then during the day, you can use day peaking at basically any time whenever you're possibly distracted. Just tell yourself to always peak first, and it'll likely be enough to get you focused again. So now you can prime your brain for focus in 30 seconds or less. But what to focus on? If you're focusing intensely on the wrong shit, soon enough you're going to lose like 50k just like me. So let me show you how you can ensure every single ounce of your focus pushes you towards what you actually want, the one thing that actually matters, using just one simple question. So I had this friend in high school, let's say this guy right here. He always was like a retard, taking pictures everywhere he went with his like cool camera, and he was like really into photography, and the pictures were pretty good, and he really liked this shit. But the thing is, before I graduated, I obviously asked him like, oh, what are you gonna do in college? And he said he wanted to do programming, and I was like, what the fuck, why? And you know what he said? He was like, oh, it makes good money, and everyone else is doing it. So I straight up told him, he's like, what the fuck? You're fucking retarded. Like, why would you do that? Then, of course, he obviously just proceeded to ignore me and go on to do programming in college. And you know what? Now he's miserable as fuck, not nearly making as much money as he thought. And this is because he was directing his focus towards a future path that didn't even fucking matter. He didn't genuinely want it. It was just external pressure or like perceived reward that he didn't even really care about. Then he failed. So don't make the mistake with your focus. Like, what reason do you have to pour your energy into something that doesn't align to what you want? You have basically probably no solid reason. And by real reason, I mean something like if you want to be a pro basketball player and you're like 4'5" with asthma and you're blind in one eye, like, okay, that fair enough. That's a real reason why you can't do it and you should pick something else. But unless you have something like that, you probably have no reason. So how do you avoid focusing on retarded shit, but also be realistic? Because, shit costs real money in real life. You need to make money. All you have to do is start this framework. So you first start with your highest priority goal. Define exactly what this is. Think about the single most important thing, the outcome that you want to aim for right now. And if you don't know what it is, if you don't know what this highest priority goal is, then that becomes your highest priority goal to figure it out. And the easiest way to do it is like find a problem that frustrates you and then you constantly work on a problem that you've solved, or you constantly work on solving it and have like tons of ways to solve it. And then find people that do something similar and then see how they succeeded doing that exact same thing. Incorporate that for yourself as highest priority goal. And then 2 is to just apply a filter. So ask yourself, does this directly move me closer to my highest priority goal all the time on any task that you do? And then if yes, so right here, then of course you do it. You always do this task. If no, it doesn't align to your highest priority goal, then you just want to ruthlessly cut this out of your day, or delegate it, or minimize it as much as possible, or like optimize it so you don't spend that much time. Because it's basically a distraction. It's not an opportunity relative to your goal. So why would you do it, right? If you want to make as much progress as possible. Okay, your focus is now locked onto the right target all the time, but even the most focused person can't work anymore if they're tired as fuck and they have no energy, right? So the obvious answer is just to like eat a clean diet, so you have good energy. But I'm sure you already know that. You don't need to hear that. So let me give you a rule to follow that I'm 99% sure that you've never heard of, and will always keep you eating the right things to keep you maximally fueled for focus endurance. So I don't know if you've seen this video before on TikTok of some like fucking crazy vegan person that's basically saying like, oh yeah, I'm vegan, and you look at this disgusting beef and this beautiful fresh lettuce. I'm gonna have my dog and show you like, oh yeah, my dog loves lettuce. And look, the dog instantly goes and eats the beef, and they're like, oh yeah, fuck no, eat the lettuce, you love lettuce, you love lettuce. But obviously it doesn't happen. It's the exact same thing for your brain. You can try to like run it on sugar or processed junk or cheap carbs or some shit like that, but that is the mental equivalent to dog lettuce. Or you can feed it the high quality fuel it needs, or what you can call dog beef over here, so you can function at its peak all the time. And I don't mean eat actual dog, by the way. But anyways, how do you eat dog beef for focus all the time? I'll give you one simple rule based on NOVA classifications. You can look up what NOVA classifications are, or just pause this if you want. But the simple part of it is this. You can start at the top, the best class of food, which is basically unprocessed whole foods like this apple. Or you have stuff like applesauce, which has like added sugars and shit like that, and it's a bit processed. Or you can have apple pie, which is even more processed, has things added to it. Or apple candy, which basically doesn't even closely resemble the apple anymore. Maybe doesn't even have real apple in it. Obviously, this apple is the healthiest option, right? Because it's just right from nature. But the question is, what do you think these 3 have in common that the apple doesn't? Like, literally has physically on it. You can pause and think about it if you want. But the answer is a nutritional facts label. Basically, anything with a nutritional facts label is a processed food, at least in the US, I think. And anything without it is a whole food like the apple, or like pure steak, or like pure whatever. And these whole foods, these natural things that come straight from nature, are the best to fuel your brain. So knowing this one rule and just avoiding the nutritional facts label as much as possible, you can fuel your brain for focus correctly. But the thing is, actually, even a well-focused machine will overheat and break down eventually if you just keep running it nonstop without cooling, right? So let me show you exactly how you can actually work less while maintaining a higher performance and avoiding burnout. So if you think about a PC, you have this like super gaming PC over here. I know this obviously looks like a toaster, but let's say it was a gaming PC, OP as fuck. You're running like 8K VR in it, 5,000 FPS or some shit. Now you go and you rip out the cooler, so you have no cooling for your CPU. What happens? Obviously now your OP PC is going to just like actually turn into a toaster, right? And it's going to overheat, fry itself. Your brain is the exact same thing. You can push it super hard, super intense focus all the time, but without proper cooling or strategic real rest, you're going to burn out and be unable to focus at all. So the question is, how do you implement this cooling? There's two different types. I call micro and macro. So if you have this chart here and think about it, as one day, let's just say this is like 24 hours right here. Within the 24 hours, in the morning when you wake up, throughout the day, there's these little cycles, about 90 minutes and then 15 minutes, called ultradian cycles. You have like 90 minutes of focus, and then your brain naturally dips for about 15 minutes. This is when you want to cool down throughout the day, so you can again go back into the next deep focus session. So you can go like stretch, get a drink, walk around, look out the window, take a piss. But crucially, don't switch to something else. Like, don't check your phone, don't look at email, don't try to like read shit or anything like that, because that's not rest. That's another cognitive load on your brain, which then will sabotage your next 90 minutes. And then if you zoom out even more, so if you want to look at the entire 24-hour day, of course you have this ultradian cycle throughout the day. You've probably heard of this circadian rhythm, which is the cycle throughout the entire day. And this is what you call macro cooling. So throughout the day, you're working hard, your focus gauge is pretty much all used up, and you need to recharge it for tomorrow if you actually want to like reach the peak awakeness, peak alertness. So this is the quality 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night, which will recharge your brain. And the easiest way to get the most quality sleep for focus the next day is to, one, no bright lights before you go to sleep. So have it dark as fuck, dark as possible at night, both when you're sleeping and before sleeping, a few hours before. And make sure the temperature is right. Usually around like 62, I think, is supposed to be good. Or like, I don't know, have like a fan or something. And you'll sleep like a rock, so you can focus deep as fuck later. And with that, you'll never have burnout again. So you'll never get your focus fucked. Although your focus is actually still fuckable if your dopamine system is fucked. But what if there is a way to make your focus truly unfuckable without fucking around doing complicated dopamine hacks? Let me show you how you can turn your focus work itself into an ultimate focus building practice that literally takes additional 0 minutes of time per day. So think about this. If you're trying to improve your social skills or something like that faster, there's two ways to do it. You can do like this guy right here and visualize it. Try to visualize talking to people and like what you would say. And through that, you'll be able to speak better when you actually talk to someone. Or you can actually just go out there. Of course, it's hard, it's uncomfortable, and you kind of like get fucked up. But with that like real-time feedback, you're able to adapt and improve way faster, right? So this is exactly like meditation. Meditation is sort of like the visualization for focus. It of course helps your focus, builds it faster. But the intense work that you do, focusing on actual work, is the real practice. So how do you actually turn your work into a state of meditation? We can actually break down the individual parts of meditation by itself and translate it directly into what it would be for work. So I know in meditation, likely most of the time you focus on your third eye center or your breathing or something like that, just focusing on one thing and bringing your awareness back to it consistently. That's exactly like picking one task and keep on focusing on it. And of course, in meditation, you don't listen to anything and you close your eyes so it's dark. I know this looks like, I don't know, like bouncing titties, but anyways, that means for your work, you want to get rid of like your AirPods, try not to listen to music or podcast or anything, at least initially. Put your phone out of sight, close unnecessary tabs. So you basically clean your environment just like the meditation. And step 3, Within meditation, you're of course, again, focusing on your breathing. You bring your full attention to your task, just like that meditation. Like you have a distracting thought and you consistently bring it back to your third eye, and then you have another distracting thought and you just go through this cycle. Same thing with your work again. And then finally, of course, just like in meditation, it's boring as fuck, right? Meditation is boring as fuck. You maybe can't even do it for a few minutes or even a few seconds. Some people are so fucked up, I know. But eventually they level up and they can do it like 20 minutes, no problem. So exactly the same, except it's more powerful with your work. If you deliberately train this and just keep on like sticking with it, bringing yourself back, this practice will build your deep focus capacity faster than anything else. And also, you got to embrace the discomfort, because this discomfort is literally the training. So now you can unfuck your focus and make real progress. But knowing these steps is one thing. Actually making these steps super simple and following them for the long term is actually really hard, right? We can actually watch this video right here and I'll show you the strategy that you can use to make these 7 steps effortless as fuck, so you can keep making progress that is literally so simple that you can't avoid making progress or making success.